or visit us online at fastmicrolloff.com. Book your dumpster today. Fast Mike's Roll-Off, cleanup made simple.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, welcome to Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back in. Ticket Weeknights, Harrison Arns on the ones and twos. This is the Husker Football Hour, and we got Tom Shatel of the Omaha World Herald. As always, if you guys want to join in, 402-464-5685, Facebook, YouTube, XL, Channel 961. Great ways to put a face to the voice and to the Allo VIP line graphic, as we do got Tom Shatel on the phone. And again, shout out to our sponsor, Allo VIP, where they understand the importance of exceptional service with a local heart. Tom Shatel, how's it going on a rainy Monday evening here?
Yeah, the Nebraska weather, as always, can't decide what it wants to be or do. So it needs an identity, and that identity would be nice fall weather. But as long as it's not 90 anymore.
Yeah, I'll take that. I did warn everybody, because I did go attend the game versus Michigan State that we'll certainly dive into, about everyone complaining about the heat. I was like, just give it a week. Well, you'll be asking for that heat to come back relatively shortly here. But indeed, it is a rainy day, but it does not reflect the attitude of Imagine Husker Nation. Big football win, and then volleyball. My goodness. Good luck to anybody who's got them on the schedule coming up here, as they've just been on an absolute run these last two games in particular. But on the football side of things, just a broad picture. Tom Shatel, their win over Michigan State, they win at 38-27. What are your just initial thoughts once that clock hit zero after the game?
Well, at first they're all must wins at Nebraska. Whenever you lose, that's when things usually get loud. But they really needed to win this one with 2 road games coming up. And against teams that, Maryland was, when we were sitting there in the third quarter, Nebraska's offense looked broken, and they were down 7. And, Maryland was up 20-0 on Washington. They were going, well, this is not good. This is not good. And, and then it all flipped, but it was just, it's a game they really needed to start a new winning streak, work out some things that people were the red flags from the Michigan game, which I'm gonna predict that by the end of the year, that loss is not going to look too bad. It's going to look more painful because Michigan, I think, is going to be in the college football playoff, and I think they are going to have a chance to win the whole thing. Because the list of teams to win the whole thing is going to be long. So I think that was the Michigan thing. I think we're going to look at that and go, okay, maybe things weren't that bad. And then we saw Michigan State sacking Raiola 4 or 5 times, and we're going, wait a minute, So it was to answer your question. Every win right now is big because Nebraska is learning how to win, and they're learning to try and stack wins. And so we'll see if they can do it this week. But 4-1 is a hell of a lot better than 3-2 would have been. With schedule coming up, that I don't think anything on the schedule right now is what you'd call gettable. Maybe Northwestern is gettable, but like I said, a lot of teams look at Nebraska as gettable. So they've got to prove that they can be the team that wins every week. And the way they won was it was wild, wasn't it? We were sitting there wondering, what the hell is going on, and then boom, they just flip the switch, and they have the kind of playmakers where you can do that. It doesn't have to. It's not necessarily going to be a grinded out team. It's going to be a team that can score quick.
Yeah, and I think to really point that out was 21 unanswered, and that started late in that third quarter where they rattled off 21 points. And I was doing the pregame show all the way up until kickoff, and of course walking to the stadium. I'm going to be there a little bit late, and it was bizarre. Walking towards the stadium, you can hear the crowd roaring. You can hear it's like, okay, we must have got a defensive stop there. And then by the time we're walking in, the TV's on the screen. You got Emmett Johnson already running into a touchdown. So before I even get into my seat, it's 7-0. And then shortly after, I'm sitting, getting settled in. They block the punt. They score that one, and it's 14-0. And then I think it was about 30 minutes real time before I saw the offense touch the field again. And it was just a lot of defense where they were out there for big periods of time. We had some untimely penalties. When you look at the third down conversion rate for Michigan State, it's probably worse than what people might have thought after watching the game. They were 2 for 14. A lot of it was just unfortunate kind of penalties and some of those big situations that allowed them to keep those drives alive. But then to your point, you just finally catch your rhythm. And I think that was the hardest part for Nebraska's team that day was, man, when your offense is just sitting off the field for that long, and then you hop back in there and it's a 3 and out. I think they're having a really tough time just trying to find any sort of rhythm. And then once they got it, Emmett Johnson starts finding the holes a little bit better, breaking some tackles. He runs that one to the corner of the end zone later in the game. And then the tide started rolling. And, thank goodness for the defense and special teams having the days they did, really just kind of keeping things in check. I know they got to the 21-14 lead, but if those guys weren't playing their game that day, that could have gotten to a lead to where maybe it was a little bit more intimidating for Nebraska to try to go ahead and fight back. But I will say this, when was the last time you were this confident about a special teams operation at the University of Nebraska?
Yeah, it's so much fun. Of course, I'm old enough to remember when it was fun to have special teams where you can expect a punt return to go to the house at any time. You can expect a block punt. You can expect things to be really sharp. Now, a couple of times they weren't. They had a punt return called back because of a block in the back. But there were some other, just special teams in general were really good on a kind of strange day for all kinds of things because of the wind. So it's great. It's the best part about that is, you go out and you hire somebody to do a job, and they're doing the job. It's the expectations are being met, and that's always sort of a uplifting thing for any program that's being built. Is it leads to confidence, and as we heard today, Matt Rule, that the guys on special teams are fired up and they want more, and that's what winning does. That's what success does, and it's been so long since we've had that on a week-to-week basis around here. So it feels good, and you feel like this coaching staff knows what they're doing, and so I'd say the same thing about defense. The defense was better. They are swarming to the ball after that first game, and now we see Cincinnati's not bad.
Mm-hmm.
And that quarterback is killing people, and so the defense really had to. That was a wake-up call for them that night, but they're awake and they played well. They had breakdowns against Michigan, and a couple times. Man, you got to give Michigan State credit in that quarterback. I mean, scrambles. He's trying to make a play. They've got guys who can block. Those quarterbacks are dangerous, and it's not just Nebraska that can't stop them. A lot of people can't stop them. So, I like when you left that game on Saturday. Okay, never mind the roller coaster, and we all like to nitpick on things and say things were this or that. But it was a feel-good win because you felt good about special teams. You felt good that defense is getting better. There were late in the game, there were 2 tackles on the edge. I can't remember who made the tackles. They were textbook tackles, one-on-one tackles out there in space. Boom, the guy goes down. That's very good defense. That's what you want. And so, and really, the defense a couple times got set up poorly by the fake punt. That was another thing on special teams that didn't go right.
Yep.
But they feel good about special teams that they tried it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of a plus. But defense had to go out with a short field on the fake punt. Then I think that there was an interception.
Singleton. That was his second one of the day, I believe, when he picked that one.
I mean, Ryla, I think, threw one. But I mean, the defense had to go out there and defend a short field twice, and Michigan State scored twice on those. So I thought they played a good game. I think you coming out of that game, and the way Nebraska looked just by turning on the light switch, you felt pretty good about that game and about the way things are. But of course, every Nebraska fan has learned you're never safe.
Yeah, all too well. I think we know that. But at least now we're at a point where you said it at the very beginning. Is it super clean, quarter 1 through quarter 4 all the time? No. But it's better than what it has been in years past, to where they do find a way, at least by the end of the game, that they find that rhythm and they're able to go close and win the game. And we can see it, just looking across the college football scoreboards. It's tough to win football games. I mean, Penn State, they lose to an 0-4 UCLA. Texas, everyone's liking their odds going against a Florida team who's been struggling. They take a L in the swamp. So, these games, anytime you can figure out a way to win the game, which is important to remember as we do these post-game shows, and there's always a wide variety of opinions about how people feel. But at the end of the day, you figure out ways to win the game. It's just something that Nebraska, culturally, I think it's a little bit of confidence thing too, of being that team who's got that leadership to just know how to close it out. And again, 21 unanswered is a great way to go ahead and put your foot on the gas and close that one at home. And another important note, at least to me, is making Memorial Stadium a tough place to go win at. The streak with Michigan, obviously you're back to 0. Michigan State 1-0. Memorial Stadium, you got to use it as a home field advantage. You go look across, some of the other schools. Missouri started the year off with 6 home games. They have a bye, but Missouri's sitting there undefeated. They're utilizing all those home games, and that's what you got to do if you're Nebraska. I think I looked at the record. It was like 47-48 between 91 to 98. But that to me has always been a huge point where you got to take care of your games at home. And it was great for Michigan State, or excuse me, not Michigan State, but for Nebraska to do that versus Michigan State.
Yeah, and how many times over the last several years have we seen Nebraska, when something goes wrong, and like you said, the air comes out of the stadium, and it affects the team, and it's almost game over. They just don't. They try to fight back, but they just can't get out of the hole, and things just, other team gets momentum. And, you felt that when Michigan State got a couple stops and they got up 7, they tied it, and they go up 7, and their players were celebrating and jumping around, and it's quiet. And it was that time of the game where you felt like, okay, that now Michigan State thinks that they're going to win, and Nebraska, can't stop it. This is what another heartbreak is setting up. Here we go again, and that didn't happen. They put their foot down and made plays, and their back was totally against the wall. They went to their, I guess, the bread and butter of this offense, of this team, and that's the forward pass. the quarterback who is becoming who was recruited to be the man is becoming the man before our eyes, and the receivers making plays. Ja'Cory Barney making the play of the game. coming back to catch that pass and then making a run. I mean, on third down, it's all of a sudden it flips, and Emmett Johnson is alive and scoring again, and it's okay, here we go. So that they didn't back down. They fought back and they won. And, that's something to put in your back pocket going to Maryland. Now, you got to do it again. Every week is a challenge. Every week is different. And there's no days off. There's no weeks off. And I like that. It keeps you going. And that's what this program needs right now. It needs to, respect every opponent and show up every week and do this every single week. So, I felt good about the direction of this. But obviously, it's a team with flaws. But this is the team we're going to have the rest of the year. There's not going to be a different team. There's not going to be different players transferring in. There's not going to be any quick fixes on the bench coming up. What we see on Saturday is what we're going to get. Now, some players may develop and contribute and do things, but basically, what we have is what we're going to have. So, and that is a team that's got flaws, and a team that Matt Rule said Saturday they kind of have to play around those or above those flaws. They have to. So, and frankly, it's a team, and I'll write about this later this week. It's a team that's built around the quarterback and the receivers, and special teams are going to be there, and defense is going to be solid. Secondary is going to be really good. But this is a team that basically are putting everything on the quarterback and the receivers. Saturday, for whatever reason, it was a day to run the ball. It was a day for scorched earth, a day to, stay on the ground, because it was the thing in the air was very windy and very strong, and it changed the game. But it didn't change Nebraska. Nebraska kept throwing. That was the deal. Emmett Johnson ranks third in the Big Ten in rushing, but on the day to run the ball, only got 13 carries. And it was, their best player is number 15, and they're going to ride, for years, Nebraska's best player was its quarterback, and that meant the option. That meant keeping it on the ground and just mauling people. Today, that means they're going to find a way to throw it, and that certainly changed. You saw what it could do Saturday. But that seems to be the way it's going to be all season. It doesn't mean they can't run it, but they didn't show really an attitude to run it on Saturday when the weather called for it.
No, and to your point, I think there's even a red zone series where Nebraska maybe had 9-8 yards to go. It was a 1st and goal situation, and it was 3 straight passes. So it's like, we were really committed to it. I will say this, though, about number 15, Dylan Raiola. One of the games I was more impressed with him by, and it sounds weird because if you just go look at the stats, nothing bad, but 16 for 24, 194 yards, average of 8 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, was not a great QBR rating due to all the sacks he took. But what I was glad to see in that was his poise. That's a tough situation to go in there and then go ahead and deliver that first deep ball. I think that might have been it might have been Barney on that one. I can't exactly who that first big throw was later in the game, late in the third quarter, to kind of pop things off. But he finally had that poise in there to not let what happened previously. And again, he threw a really just tough pick in that game where you could tell he just didn't see him, and kind of threw it right at Michigan State, a little present. But he came back out there and he didn't lose his poise. And that, to me, is kind of the difference that's allowing Nebraska to fight in these games and not just kind of go, oh, here we go again. Because when your leader on your team has poise, that stuff kind of translates usually pretty well. And Dylan Raiola, for the most part, all season, and in particular with this one, had some really great moments. I kind of go back to that game UCLA last year where he kind of throws that first pick, and all of a sudden you kind of see it. Everything's a little bit off. Some of the throws are overthrown, underthrown, and he just kind of lost his poise a little bit. This year, you're just not seeing that nearly as much. And to me, this Michigan State game was the best example of that. Again, it was not a great start. You could argue he held on to the ball too long at times. He wasn't, having that clock in his head running properly. And all of that may be true, but he found a way to fix it when it mattered most.
Yeah, I'm so impressed with Dylan, and just, he's older. This is what you would have hoped to see. That kind of poise, the leadership taking over. But see it actually develop and actually unfold before your eyes it's just very cool. You want your stars to play like stars. You want your quarterback and your best, the 5-star to come in and do 5-star things. But in this case, the most important 5-star thing he can do is be a leader and make plays. And, Dylan was raised to be a quarterback and has had some of the best training, you can have, anybody can have. That includes being around his dad's team, the Detroit Lions, and Matthew Stafford is kind of an uncle, to watch and learn from, and it's just he's been trained for these moments. But to me, the best quarterbacks are not guys who throw beautiful passes, but they make football plays. They're kind of grinders, not grinders, but they're guys that they just make plays. They just find a way to win the games. And a couple of my favorite guys, Joe Gans, that kind of guy. Zach Taylor was that kind of guy. Eric Crouch, all those guys. Certainly Frazier. Just guys who were football players, and there are times when that third down pass you're talking about, Dylan made a play. He got out of the pocket and he found his guy, and he got the ball there, and he to a place where Ja'Cory Barney only he could get it, and they made this incredible play together, and it was magic in a lot of ways. It was like, okay, you felt like it was a little. I don't know if it was the play design. I think it was a play that just happened, and that's what you want. Your best guys coming together to make those kind of plays that are going to win games. So it's really fun to watch this because you feel like you're seeing him become the guy that he's always wanted to be, and the guy that the Nebraska fans wanted him to be. So, and after that play, that any pressure you could just feel it come off him, and it was like, okay, here we go, we got this, and it was a very big moment for this season. It really was.
Yeah, and again, it just. Nice to have that guy in there to put the noise back into the stadium, and that play right there certainly got Memorial Stadium alive again. Everyone woke up, and then you got that home crowd advantage right back where it was at the beginning of the game. So it's phenomenal. And it's not just Dylan Raiola. I mean, you look across, especially on that defensive side of the ball, I don't think anyone should be terribly surprised that it took a little bit to get those guys going, especially on the front. That secondary's been electric. They got a lot more veteran leadership. But, I mean, there's still some new faces, younger guys that are really starting to get those real-time reps, and you're seeing them develop in real time. So I think, if you keep seeing improvement, I think we certainly saw some versus Michigan State, you like the direction that the team's heading in currently right now as they're getting ready for another road weekend as they got the Maryland Terrapins coming up. But we do got to throw it to break here. We'll talk some more college football on the other side, Nebraska football in particular, but we'll go across the board a little bit. I do got to ask you about the Penn State situation just to get your thoughts on it. But nonetheless, don't go anywhere. We got Tom Shatel of the Omaha World Herald. Harrison Arns on the ones and twos back at 1040 O Street Ticket Studios. We'll talk to you guys on the other side.
Harvest season is coming, and Acres has discounted many of our late model John Deere combines. Get thousands in discounts and upgrade for this year's harvest. Plus, you could save even more with interest rates starting as low as 1.9% on select units. Low interest rates combined with our huge discounts, there's not a better time to buy. Visit acres.com for all the details. That's AKRS.com. Restrictions apply. Offer ends August 31st, 2025. Subject to approved financing. Offer may change at any time without notice.
Hey fans, there's more winning at Amigos with the VIP Game Day giveaway. Every app scan is your chance to win premium tickets to a Nebraska football, basketball, and volleyball game, along with exclusive game day perks. And when Nebraska goes to a bowl, the winner also gets 2 tickets, lodging, and airfare to the bowl game. Weekly semifinalists will win free food for a year. Go Big Red. Eat at Amigos and enter to win.
Amigos is celebrating 45 years with exclusive Nebraska Legends collectible cups featuring Tom Osborne, John Cook, and some of your favorite Huskers. For every cup sold, 50 cents goes to teammates. Show your Big Red pride by getting all 4 of these collectible cups at Amigos.
This is Tom Osborne with the Teammates Mentoring Program. We have students on the waiting list for a mentor, and we want you to join the team. Learn more about mentoring and support teammates by visiting Amigos.
An overdose can happen in front of you and you might not realize it. Blue lips, slowed breathing, pinpoint pupils, choking sounds, unresponsive to touch or sounds. These signs aren't always obvious, but they can be deadly. Knowing what to do could save your friend, your neighbor, your child. Learn more by visiting myhealthymind.crediblemmind.com so you can be ready before it happens. This message is funded in part by the CDC OD2A grant.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just their professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, their passion for happier, healthier, furry friends.
Limitless Male says it's all fun and games until your testosterone plummets. Testosterone levels can start falling as early as age 30 with symptoms like no energy, poor sleep, brain fog, belly fat, muscle loss, and mood swings. If this sounds familiar, get your testosterone checked at Limitless Male. We'll get you back in the game with more strength, energy, and confidence. When you feel this good, you'll wonder why you waited so long to get a free consult at Limitless Male. Get scheduled today.
I'm Karen Carr. I've been a realtor for 31 years. When I made a company change 12 years ago, I chose Lincoln First Realty, now NP Dodge. It's the oldest independently owned realty company in the country. Since becoming NP Dodge, we've continued our tradition of community involvement. Our management and staff are always available to offer support in marketing, technology, social media, and educational opportunities.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
Are you looking to upgrade or improve the garage door on your home? This is Cameron Hall of Doors Plus. At Doors Plus, we guarantee to offer a wide selection of options from 5 leading garage door manufacturers as we deliver a free estimate, exact measurements, and rapid installation with a 3 to 5 week time frame. When you choose Doors Plus for your residential garage door needs, you'll work with our experienced technicians and be ensured that your new door seamlessly complements your home. Give us a call at 402-590-5800 or visit us online at DoorsPlusLLC.com. Doors Plus, garage doors and more.
What's better than supporting your favorite radio station and eating delicious Nebraska-made products? Smoking Gun Jerky of Nebraska wants to highlight you the listener on the 93.7 The Ticket Wall of Fame at the store. Stop by the store at 48th and R in Lincoln and see their huge variety of small batch gourmet jerky. Or if you're not in the area and want to try some, go to smokinggunjerky.com and enter code EARLY for 10% off your purchase. It's the ultimate low-calorie, high-protein snack at Smoking Gun Jerky of Nebraska.
With UBT, you've got total control over your money. Like Doug, who runs his game day tailgate like a well-oiled machine.
I got burgers, brats, chicken, dogs, plus all the fixins. And with the UBT Go app, I can track my food spending from anywhere.
Pro move.
They don't call me Grill Sergeant for nothing.
No matter your goals, UBT helps you feel good about reaching them. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
Back to the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back in segment number 2, Husker Football Hour with Tom Shatel of the Omaha World Herald on the Allo VIP line. Coming up here, I want to talk a little bit about what's ahead for Nebraska as they hit the first road game. You could call Cincinnati game a neutral site. Technically, it's supposed to be a home game for Cincinnati, but just based on the attendance on that one, not going to count it. But they do got to go all the way out to Maryland and face a Mike Loxley team who's been pretty surprising to me this year. Although they did take a loss to Washington, their defense has been interesting to watch. One thing those guys do really well, if you just look across the board defensively, they get sacks from a lot of different spots and a lot of different positions out there on the field. For Nebraska, and obviously with the pass protection, you even saw in that Michigan State, stuff like just simple twists by those defensive linemen were sometimes kind of catching the right tackle and left tackle. By that means, catching them off guard and allowing some of those sacks for Dylan Raiola. When you look at this Maryland team, when you look at Nebraska, what are kind of the first things that pop in your head that you think ought to be a focus for the Huskers this week?
Well, keeping the quarterback upright is probably at the top of the list. Look at the last two games. I mean, Nebraska comes within 3 points, and there's a lot of situations where they probably could have tied the game, or they were tied at halftime with the Hail Mary. And they're 3 points away from that team, which I think is going to be a great team. Mm-hmm. And then they last week they come back and win. Imagine what they might have done if they hadn't been sacked like 12 times or whatever it was in those two games. I mean, cut those in half and imagine what might have been done. They're going to find a way. I mean, I'm sure Maryland's they're licking their wounds this week, but they're probably licking their chops. Mm-hmm. At the situation, looking at the game film. Again, there's no magical answers for Nebraska's offensive line. There's nobody that they're going to pull out of the waiver wire or sign from the portal that's going to save the day. They are who they are, and they are bad, but they're not good enough, especially against And I think Dylan has to help. Mm-hmm. There are times when he does hold it too long, and he's had, and he's got to understand who his offensive line is. You don't get 4-5 seconds. It's not with that line, so you got to get rid of it. And but man, I tell you, against Cincinnati, he had a clean pocket all game. I thought, man, this offensive line is going to be good. Then the Michigan game happens, but I mean, this is a situation where Dana Holgorsen and Dylan have to get together with the other offensive guys and just figure out, okay, how can we get the ball out quicker? How can we find drop plays where we catch the snap and then 1, 2, 3, the ball's coming to you. There's got to be a way that you more utilize screen passes more. There was a situation in the game Saturday where there were 2 straight sacks. And, okay, so let's go back to pass again. and because that wasn't enough. And then the snap is wide, or, you know, and so it's a 10-yard loss. I mean,
and that was off the huge punt return. I mean, that was 3 points until they started backpedaling.
I mean, it's yeah. And that's when there were people started booing, because it's like, what are we doing?
Mm-hmm.
And so then I believe the next series was a screen pass and a couple of delayed handoffs, so to try to keep the pressure on us. So, you know, more of those kind of things, and they've got to be crafty. They've got to figure out a way to. And my goodness, Dana Holgerson has seen every blitz, every stunt, everything that's ever been invented in college football to get pressure on the quarterback. So none of this is anywhere new to him. He knows all this stuff back and forth. So if Dylan is going to be the focus, and I probably should be, and they're going to throw it every week, then they must get that part of the game fixed.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the sack number is in the last 2 games, but it's not great. And Dylan Real is, you know, rushing yards, because they do count that in college, are really suffering as a result from it as well. Just racking up a lot of those negative yards. And you're absolutely right. It's not all on the offensive line. That's always the easy kind of scapegoat to point at. And I'm sure Dylan Real understands it as well. He's smart enough to go look at tape and being like, yeah, I should have got rid of that one. You know, no one was open, and there's no way I'm going to have 5+ seconds to get that thing off, especially knowing how the rush had been that day. You know, once you've first one might catch you off guard, you know, we kind of caught Childs off guard early in the game, and he started kind of figuring out when to feel that pressure. Dylan Real, it took a little bit for him to get that clock going and really figure out when to get out and try to make a play or just get rid of it. And that's the part of his game where I think he's really still trying to figure out. And he's not athletically talented the same way Childs was, right? Like, he's not going to go break multiple tackles in the pocket. And if he does, you know, it's usually pretty unlikely that he's able to do that. But he's got a great arm. And when he does have the time, he can deliver it. But, yeah, huge point of emphasis. Just kind of point out again with Maryland, the sacks they get from a – go ahead. Make your point.
I was going to say, it's going to be a team effort. I don't know what was happening in the first half. Of course, they didn't have the ball very long, but when they did, it sure seemed like nobody was open. I don't know if the receivers were not getting open, or suddenly in the fourth quarter they were. But for a while there, they seemed like anybody was open. He kept looking and looking, and then all of a sudden he'd get hit. Or I saw one time where, you know, where running backs was supposed to ship the defensive end or linebacker coming in and then go out for a pass. Well, he totally whiffed, and, you know, Rella had to throw it away almost. You know, that play broke down because there was a running back that didn't do his job. So everybody has to help. The offensive line needs everybody's help. I think it's not bad. It can be good, but to be effective, you know, in this situation, they need everybody to kind of do their jobs. And they'll need scheme and, you know, the quarterback to help out also. So, but again, I think we're at the point now where we know who everybody is and where the weaknesses and flaws are. So if they can fix them on the run here, it might be a fun month.
And on the positive side, I do think a lot of them are very fixable issues. You know, with the wide receiver, I can't fully explain what was happening in the first half where they were struggling to get that separation. But in terms of the offensive line, to me, a lot of the sacks that I was noticing was just communication. Where if it was coming from, you know, the lineman, again, I was talking about some of those stunts that I'm sure the guys are aware of, but it caught them off guard a few times. Just communication stuff like that and making sure the guys are talking to each other. I think that would help tremendously. Certainly just cut the numbers in half. You know, I don't think it's these guys just aren't good enough for the job. Michigan, it's tougher as you can execute, but sometimes you're still going to lose. Versus Michigan State, a lot of times to me, a lot of the sacks were just, you know, you weren't communicating. You lost track of who you were supposed to be blocking in that one, or you fell for the stunt, whatever that stunt may have been. So if they get that stuff down, you know, there might have been one play where I saw Pritchett just losing a bull rush where he did give up the sack. But other than that, again, a lot of the times I was seeing them get pressure was guys just failing to communicate pre-snap and recognize, where that was coming from. And even live during the snap, you still want to be talking and kind of handing that stuff off, seeing, yelling what you're seeing. And they all got different lingo for that. But I think it's totally fixable to go ahead and do. To me, it's not we just don't got good enough athletes. I'm not saying we're going to be as dominant as Michigan or Penn State in the trenches, but I don't think this is a team who this has to be a continued pattern as we play more Big Ten play. I do think talent-wise, it's not, that isn't the problem. I do think it's just as simple as, the guys are still learning how to communicate, especially at kind of those outside tackle positions.
Well, and that's what I've been saying too this year is everybody, everybody fired up about year 3 for Matt Rule. Well, that was in the A-10 or whatever, or the Big 12. I mean, in fact, it may take longer to build an offensive line in the Big 10 than just 3 years. It may take 4 years. And I'm looking at them, and again, if you can't rely on these guys to run the ball on Michigan State, then I don't know if that offensive line is ready yet, and it may not be, but it's certainly good enough at times. I think this build might take a little longer, and that's okay. But you got to win some games too. But I think up front, it's a different deal. I mean, this Nebraska team, as we see them, is kind of got a Big 12 feel to them. It's we're going to throw it. We've got superior quarterbacks and receivers and defensive backs. And Big 10 is about physical strength up front and linebackers. It's about that kind of deal. And so Nebraska had that last year on the defensive line. So they may have it again. They just got to get the experience. But yeah, this Saturday showed again what we've seen for 15 years in this league. Michigan State's good enough. They're not bad.
Mm-hmm.
There aren't really bad teams. Northwestern is probably going to be the team that is, if you had to rank all the rest of the opponents, and probably make the bottom. That doesn't mean they're bad. These teams, if you make mistakes, these teams are going to beat you. And Michigan State is good enough to do that. It's certainly good enough to, sack Dillon a bunch. So, and they weren't really thought that nobody thought that they were going to do that. So, Maryland is that kind of team. Minnesota, very good. On and on. And now all of a sudden UCLA's got some mojo going. And so we thought, well, that could be a trip where they go out to the Rose Bowl and have a good day in front of nobody. But if Jerry Neuheisel's getting fired up and UCLA's he's got the quarterback playing well, all of a sudden that game looks different. Also, so does Penn State right now, but we don't know what can happen in the next month. But I'm just saying that Nebraska in this league, it comes down to one thing, and that's don't make mistakes. And they still are doing that. But they've got some pretty good erasers right now of mistakes. Guys who can make it all good in a real hurry. So you just wonder if they'll be able to do that all season, or if they'll have to.
Absolutely. And before we go to break here, again, we're really just talking about at the beginning the pressure that Nebraska was giving up in that Michigan State game, and why I think it's obviously going to be a reason to focus. You go look at this Maryland and just give everybody an idea, again, the amount of pressure and the different areas they're constantly bringing it from. Just going off their team stats, they got Wingate, linebacker, he's got a sack. Reddit, another linebacker, he's got 2 sacks. Smith, linebacker, half sack. Mathis, defensive line, he's got 3.5. Stewart, defensive line, he's got 4.5. Rice, he's got 1.5 defensive line as well. So not only do they have guys coming in there that are getting sacks, they can rotate guys in and out too when they're giving the other guys some breathers. And then there's times too where, they might bring a corner blitz at you. So they're going to bring it in different packages. Holgson, he's seen them all before. But again, it's going to be up to the guys, can you communicate that stuff on the fly and decipher where that pressure is going to be coming from and just execute, most importantly of all. With that being said, though, we are up to our final break here. On the other side, we'll talk a little bit more Husker football. So we'll go across some of the other games as well. So don't go anywhere. Husker Football Hour, Tom Shatel, Harrison Arens. Talk to you in a little bit.
At Valentino's, we're on a mission for tradition. On every slice, for every bite. Golden baked crust, cooked to perfection every time. Savory sweet sauce that's made from our own secret recipe. Loaded with the perfect amount of fresh toppings and melty mozzarella cheese. It's the tradition that Nebraskans have come to love. From game day to every day. Valentino's. Taste the tradition.
Give your furnace a break with the help of Heartland of Nebraska Windows. Heartland of Nebraska Windows offers a free estimate, full window replacements, all vinyl triple pane windows, and a lifetime warranty of everything, while still keeping their prices affordable. Sounds too good to be true, right? Heartland of Nebraska Windows is locally and family owned with their own team of installers. Give the window experts at Heartland of Nebraska Windows a call today at 402-430-3852 or visit them online at heartlandofnebraskawindows.com. Elevate your home or business with the help of Heartland of Nebraska Windows today.
A1 Automotive's second location is now open at 5110 State Hill Drive, just off of Yankee Hill Road. The new location continues to specialize in all makes and models and provides personalized service as they have for 15 years. With the school year here, A1 Automotive reminds you that college students get 10% off any service, and they offer free tire repair with a valid college ID. Schedule your appointment today at a1autolincoln.com and visit their new location in South Lincoln at 5110 State Hill Drive or downtown at 11th and L.
Have you been injured in an accident and don't know where to turn? You need an attorney you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you've been injured, we want to help you. Liberty Law's experienced attorneys are committed to the pursuit of justice for those injured. Call Liberty Law and find out how we can help you get the compensation you deserve. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. Call the trial attorneys you can trust. 877-42-LIBERTY.
Schweizo Construction is now hiring for skilled craftsmen, steel erectors, concrete workers, and general laborers. Schweizo Construction offers great benefits like premium wages, health and dental insurance, paid holidays and vacation, 401k with company match, life insurance, and disability insurance. They pride themselves on a legacy of 40 years built on integrity and trust. Joining their team means becoming part of a family that values hard work, dedication, and mutual respect. Apply today at schweizo.com. That's schwisow.com.
Since 1983, Fast Mike's Roll-Offs have been a trusted and reliable company in Lincoln and the surrounding areas. Fast Mike's handles all sides of construction projects, home renovations, or big cleanouts. With the perfect size dumpster to fit your needs, Fast Mike's Roll-Offs will haul it all. With same-day delivery in Lincoln, affordable rates, and top-notch service, Fast Mike's Roll-Offs make cleanup quick and easy. Call now at 402-450-6828 or visit us online at fastmikesrolloffs.com. Book your dumpster today. Fast Mike's Roll-Offs, cleanup made simple.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Breaking here at the news desk. When you stack Allo Internet, DirecTV, and mobile, you can lock in your price for 2 years. Sources are confirming that when you stack Allo Internet, DirecTV, and mobile, your monthly price drops and you're locked in for 2 years. That's fiber fast internet, premium streaming TV, and reliable nationwide mobile coverage. And this just in, you must switch by Labor Day to secure that locked-in pricing for 2 years. Switch, stack, and save at allofiber.com/stack.
Bring new life to metal treasures with Kaiser Blasting and Coatings. From railings and fences to outdoor furniture and unique antiques, their expert team removes years of rust and weathering, then finishes each piece with a lasting powder coat. Trusted by industries across the region, now local homeowners and businesses can experience the same professional care. Visit KaiserBlasting.com or call 402-421-3559 to request your quote. Restore, protect, and make your metal shine like never before with the help of Kaiser Blasting and Coatings.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Back to the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back in. Final segment. We got Tom Shatel of the Omaha World Herald on the Allo VIP line, talking a lot of Husker football, and maybe he's going to talk about some other scores here as well. Before we do transition, Tom Shatel, any final comments on just the Husker football team and what they did this weekend or what they may have coming up?
Just a lot of good stuff. Some flaws, but it's not perfect. But people don't demand perfect. They demand winning, and they're learning how to win. Is I think, depending on the rest of the season, we could look back at that game going, this was a big one. It really provided a spark that got them going between special teams and the way they played on defense and the way they came back and won with their top guns. So, but ask me again next week.
I think that's the best way to say it, though, is when you said it wasn't perfect. That's all football fans have really wanted. Nobody was wanting it perfect right away. It's like, let's just be good enough to win some ball games here. And I know a lot of people in my age bracket in particular are like, I understand it's not perfect. It's a hell of a lot better than what we've seen most of our lives outside of the Bo Pelini era, depending on where you're born at. But, you're finding ways to win the game. And if you can do that, a lot of that other negative stuff it falls to the wayside. Not that it's not important, but it doesn't just completely take over your emotions for the week. Because I know a lot of Husker fans care tremendously about how they perform on the field. I do want to ask you about Penn State, though, because I can't remember a time where an 0-4 team beat a top 10 opponent in the fashion that they did. And, for a guy like James Franklin, I almost feel bad for them because he walked into probably the worst situation you could possibly have. And he made Penn State respectable. He made it a great recruiting ground again. He made that a place that you want to go play football at. Yeah. And, just tough. You lose to Oregon, which maybe you can excuse. And even though the argument is he can't win the big ones, this is something we haven't ever seen, though, where they lose a game that they're supposed to win. What were your thoughts when that score finally, or when the clock finally hit zero?
Well, the thing about Franklin is he's an historically great coach at Penn State, but he's got his own flaws. He hasn't won the big one. He hasn't won the national title. If he would ever leave or be told to leave, whoever replaces him one day he's going to leave a very high bar behind him. Only way to do better than him is to win a national championship. So I don't think that. It was surprising to see that, but in these days we aren't surprised by much anymore, are we? I mean, it's college football is weird and wacky, and things can happen. And there was all this talk before Oregon that he hadn't won that kind of game. It was time to win, and so on and so forth. And then and they lose. But by the way, they take Oregon to overtime. I think Oregon's going to be a national title type team at the end of the year. I mean, they got blown out. They had them. They had the whiteout. It's home. You expect to win. You don't win, and so you had fly across the country with a hangover, and you're playing a team in an empty Rose Bowl that is 0-4. It's probably not a good setup. So, and now they're down and out. Penn State, Texas, and Florida State all have 2 strikes. I think if 3 losses means you're out of the playoffs, they're down to their last strike. So it's not good, but he's good. It's just sometimes, and now there's talk about he needs to get fired. He needs to resign and do everybody a favor. And I mean, it's just crazy because he won 2 playoff games last year. He made a run and probably had the lead on Ohio State or Notre Dame in the Orange Bowl. I mean, late. So he almost got to the championship game. So I just think, look, he's not going to get fired because the buyout is $56 million. Now, if it happens after the season, it's 48. Oh, that's much better. I mean, in a first of all, never mind that, $48 million isn't just laying around. I mean, I know that they get that Big Ten money, but this is an era now where $20 million or more automatically goes to players. So you've got to take care of that. And there are schools putting facility projects and academic things on hold to start to be competitive by paying players. So that's a big piece of the budget puzzle everywhere. So, but you're not going to fire a guy that is, like you said, led Penn State back to relevance, out of the wilderness, out of the dark. It was dark, very dark there. They weren't getting players. They didn't have a roster. He built the thing up. Now he just got to get over the hump. And he's not going to resign. You don't walk these coaches at elite programs are, A, they're highly competitive. B, they have lots of ego and lots of pride. But C, they like money. And so you're not going to walk away from a $48 million payday. You're just not. You're going to make them fire you and pay you off, and then you can go find a job. And here's the thing about him: he wants, if he can leave Penn State, he want to go somewhere where he can try to win a national championship. Well, if you're a school that wants to win a national championship, you're probably not going to hire him. So it's a catch-22. It's like, they just need to calm down, and he needs to stay and try to figure the thing out. It's hard to do. Everybody's yelling right now, and but there's a list of candidates out, and we don't need to talk about who one of those candidates might be. Or I shouldn't even say, I don't know if he'd be a candidate, but he was going to be mentioned, and he's already being mentioned. I don't think it's really worth talking about right now, but it's out there, and so I think it'll all calm down. I think but goodness gracious, they've got Ohio State, they got Indiana. The Indiana coach is from Pittsburgh, and I mean, it's a situation there where they need to. He thought this was his best team, and he said that.
Yeah, that's
and now he kind of regrets it. Well, if that team is still there. That team is still in there somewhere. They're going to bring it out and fast.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I mean, Dabo Swinney and him have been in the same boat this year. Dabo Swinney said he also wanted to be the first team to go 16-0. And obviously it hasn't worked out. And you're hearing fire Dabo Swinney. And it's like, well, again, that team was also in the playoffs last year. And with the opened up version of the playoffs, if you got a coach that's good enough and is winning you that many games, you're going to have some opportunities to go and do it. And, you know, we know it better than anybody else here. The grass isn't always greener. And I do think, again, that UCLA game, disappointing for Penn State, but that's kind of the era we're in now, where how many years prior would you see an 0-4 team have a 5-star caliber quarterback that is Nico Iamaleava? It's just a different ball game. I think those games are going to be more likely to happen, and we're going to have more games where I think people's jaws are going to hit the floor. But nonetheless, Tom Shatel, we appreciate it, as always, giving us the good rundown over Husker football from this weekend, looking ahead as well to Maryland. Go ahead, check him out, Tom Shatel of the Omaha World Herald. I am Harrison Arens, and we're going to keep things rolling here on Ticket Weeknights. Appreciate you guys listening, but don't go anywhere. As I said, things keep rolling right here on 93.7 The Ticket.